Hey guys, welcome to HunterBBQ live stream. Today is going to make two videos, and luckily that I have one of my friends to help, and he's the member of S2H, and I think his name is called Mindy. Hopefully I pronounce it correctly. So that we really need to give a very big credit and shout out to his name, and he's currently 80 million power. Q is very decent in server 2 as well. And not all the members have the requirement to do the test, because I need someone have a max super heavy and also have a max archeries. So that this is what he have currently. So that since we are doing the video, I will try to put the quality to the max, so that the game will refresh and we have clear pictures of what is really happening. And yeah, hi bro, morning stream. Yep, yeah, it will be fun. Okay, so I did a lot of time with my live stream to do the testing, so anyone do not want to wait for the video to be released later on, so they can just watch the stream. And I still remember I have one videos that making the inventory that I still not released. That's why I quite busy with doing all kind of things, but you will know the result after we done this live stream. So we have Mandy here, and he have a max super heavy and max archeries. So the first video we're going to do now is test out the max of this steel fighter, because a lot of people having a question about this. How is the steel fighter max out? Is it worth it to max out instantly, or what is really benefit, and what is the point? What is the reason? What is whatever ideal with her? Because of this garrison based damage received from officers, skill is reduced by 30%. But how good is that? What is that exactly and definitely means to the game, and why is it so important? So these are the moments that we test it with real tests. And so that you can see currently I have her in one of whatsoever, so I will just swap her with whatever. So you can see I have full officer, but this doesn't have the steel fighter. That's the point, because we want to have my all unit out from my base. You can see all of them is out from my base. They can kill this bunker for fun, whatever. So you can see my base currently is empty, nothing inside. So that Mandy will try to attack my troops, so I have to give him a signal. So I will just have this one to come over here to give him a signal, so that he will start to attack. So I don't think there's any privacy in this chat. If there is, I will just cut it off. But now it's live stream, so I will ask him can start anytime now when I give you the emotion gunfire. So for him to attack me, we have to leave the alliance, because currently we are on the same alliance. That is impossible for the test, because we want to test something. So I might miss this chest, but doing the videos, I always never hesitate to lost some benefit or whatsoever, so that I leave the alliance so that he can attack me. So I will ask him. Yeah, I will just try this out and see whether he get it. So you can see my archeries is still on the attack range. I want to drag my archeries away from the attack range, so that my base is definitely I think he oops. I think he get the wrong idea. Yeah. I think he get the wrong idea, because I told him to use the super heavy to attack like a normal siege, so that he get the damage to my base to know that how much the archery is damage. But now we got a first report, so that you can see I suffer about 17.9 suffer damage. So that is the damage from the archeries. But I might base kill some of his archeries. That definitely not the things that we want. So I will ask him to do one more time. Okay, so hopefully he get it. You can see his language is not English, so maybe he doesn't know fully what I mean. So that, yep, it's okay. We do it one more time. So you can see my base is empty, so he will siege me one more time. And remember that I have no allies. I mean, it doesn't really matter like what buff I have or not, because what we want to test is the steel fighter 30%, right? So that will strictly get into my buff whenever I try to activate it. Yeah, so I will just give him the emoji. I think I can go somewhere here. I just get he can't see the emoji, and I can't get this archeries to kill his super heavy. That's why you can see I have this archeries on level 60, so it's like not like deadly. You can see. All right, so yeah, finally he do it correctly this time. So you have a full siege damage like the April plus the Anthony, with 1 skill damage. Yep, that is 1 skill damage. So he stop it. Yep, that is what we want. Just give him a thumbs up this time, so that for round 2. Alright, so what we have to do now is wait for the second reports to come out, or the battle reports. I really want to delete all this, but I can't because this one is already here. So I have to do it manually to delete whatever on the bottom side, so that they are not confuse us with this particular testing, Yeah, you can see I have quite a lot of those things from the battle honor events. That's why live stream with all this cut and this and that, we take longer time to make it. When I make the videos, definitely will cut it off some of the things that are not really needed. But mostly I do those videos as I have talk over on the videos. But now let's get to the result. Now we have 17.9 on the first try that only use archeries somehow. So we have the second try on 20.9 suffer damage. So that is how I have. So now we will test it out with the steel fighter inside the base. And most of you doesn't aware that steel fighter can put on archeries as well. So I will just remove whatever and just have steel fighter. And mostly you think that steel fighter have to put on super heavy or some of the tank or whatever, but definitely not that case. But to be what do you call it? To be fair, I will also use the tank as well. So I will have this tank this to train it out. Maybe not now, but yeah, just maybe not now because I want to test it out. So I will just have this one. I would like to have all of them prepared, but now it's fine. So that yep, I have this emoji as well. So now we have one troops is inside my base that is garrisoned. Then that is a steel fighter, so that he siege me one more time and see how much that 30% meant to be buff or benefit to us, Alright, so he do it almost perfectly. Yep. So this is what I have on the garrison, and all my other troops is outside now. Then let's train this one. So I will swap this to here, so that we'll see exactly the same result, hopefully. Let's get out of this one as well. Then this one get out of my base, because I doesn't want to kill anything from him. I want to have the test on it. And we have to wait for the report to come out. That is what we needed. But why every time I have to go to this? Okay, let's wait for it to pop up. Basically, it's like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. The report will come in, so that we have our first report to see how good about the 30% reduce skill damage from our base. And you can see my base is almost dead. That's why it's very scary sometimes. Alright, alright, we have the report come in, so you can see it's 18 million damage. So that we can compare the first one on the archeries to kill is not a lot of damage well kill, because my base kill some of his archeries that really affect a lot, because I think 12 is about 4 archeries, because one archery is for 4 personnel, right? Let me check. Yeah, one archery is 4 personnel. I killed 12 of it. That's why the damage reduced based on the archeries remain, and so that the skill damage also reduced. But the real damage is this one is 20 millions. 20 millions, and then we reduce it to 18 millions. But you have to understand one thing, is that this is only one set of the skill done to our base. so that if there is like more than two or three, yeah, maybe like 10, they try to siege you one time. So you can see each of them is to 2 million damage reduced from what we have. That's the 30%. That's the 30% we have, right? So now I want to do a second test. Second test is that because just now we have the archeries inside the base and we have the steel fighter on it. Now I will just do it the steel fighter on this particular archeries, and now this archeries is outside my base. Instead of inside my base. C is that still having like what he's claimed that have to be garrison, have to be garrisons. So let's test it out, but I want to wait this one fully and let it. Okay, let's move it out, and I'll just give the emoji to say shoot. At this point of time, my base HP doesn't really matter to me. Yeah, it worked perfectly. It reduced 2 million damage, so that that's how the 30% kick in. But you can see now the steel fighter is on outside my base, not on garrison. So we'll see how much the damage on my base. Yep, he stopped it instantly. Yeah, gone that as well. So this is the second test. So the third test is on the tank. Because on archeries definitely is work. On tank it will work as well, but mostly you will say on tank might be better on this and that or the super heavy whatsoever, right? But it's just same. I think for the fair factor, I will just put it on my super heavy, so that everyone will not have any more question about like why you want to put on archeries instead of put your super heavy whatsoever, because everyone use on super heavy. So let's do it this time so that no one complain. But I already know, but I just want to show, so that you can see this time they did 22.3 million suffer damage to my base. It's better than the second one. I think maybe the archery shoot one more time or something. That's why I would like to have the officer damage show that times to be more transparency, but that's fine. I will ask him. I don't think that is really necessary, but we already know that from the MD base I have is 20 millions, and after I have the steel fighter is 18, but this time he did 32.3 millions. That is really little bit crazy, but that's fine. So I will ask him to do this time shoot my base, right? Then you can see my super heavy have the steel fighter and angel. I will just swap. That's a little bit too late. But angel and the jack doesn't matter. Both of them doesn't really buff my base. That doesn't matter. All right. So he shoot and he stop and he stop. Right. All right. Okay. So we have this test, and then I have another last testing. Then we will be knowing how the steel fighter work, because I really wonder how it really works sometime. So I'll move this one out, and then I will just get rid of this one, and then get back on it. But this time you can see I didn't train it. You have to train like 0. But this time I put a steel fighter on this one. So we want to know, well, this considered a garrison or this is considered not a garrison. That is the biggest question. Like my super heavy die fully. Maybe I just do the super heavy, so we might be more based on the real factor. And this one also not garrison, is whatsoever not really. So you can see two of them can't really maybe I can just train this one and move it away from my base. But let's see the result on this one first. So you can see it's down to 18.2 million damage again. That's why this one is a little bit maybe overshoot my base from the empty base. But it's not a very big deal. But we're getting consistent result from 18 millions when we have a steel fighter inside my base. And this one is 18 millions. Like the 0.2 is not really a big deal. Like maybe his super heavy attack 1 or 2 extra or some critical damage or something. But that's definitely not the things that break the deal, So that this time I will just ask him to attack me so that we have the result a little bit quicker. Alright. So this time the testing is about your troop is not trained. but you have Steel Fighter, well, it still have the 80 million effect or back to the 20 millions. That's the biggest question we have. Like sometimes your Super Heavy is dead, then you do not know whether the Steel Fighter is still working or not. You know, that's the biggest question most of the time I want to ask. But I already proved that if the Steel Fighter is on the outside of your base, it will not take the buff of the 30%. So you have to be 100%. This Steel Fighter have to stay inside your base, whether on archeries or whether on tank. It doesn't matter. As long she is inside your base, she will have that buff. But now the question is that because this one is having the troop, but this one is having no troops, well, it still considered garrisons or is considered not garrison. That's the biggest question we have now. So we'll wait for this report to come in, and we will know that is it work or not working. Alright, so the report come in, so let's take a look. So you can see if the Steel Fighter is inside your base but your troop is not there, it's considered not garrison because that is considered deploy instead of garrison. Garrison means that your troop must be inside your base. That's why if your Super Heavy is dead, then you think that Steel Fighter is still working. It's definitely not working. That's why I would like to put my Steel Fighter on the archeries that is never ever leave my base. That is how it works, because you know then you just waste your whatever the Steel Fighter. So we'll just test this one more time, that training, then wait for until I have one Super Heavy. I will ask him to attack me. Then you will see the big difference of this the report, right? He deal 20 over millions power damage to my base instead of just deal like 18, something like that. So let's wait for this to be 1. Then we'll see is when it on whatsoever is inside your base consider garrison, it will take the effect. If not, it's just not. And outside of the base, definitely it's not garrison, right? So he should one more time, yeah. So hopefully this gives a very clear idea of how the Steel Fighter buff working. But of course you have to fully unlock the Steel Fighter to make this work, and all other skill doesn't buff your base exactly. So that you have to understand, you have to fully unlock her to become more valuable. Otherwise, this doesn't value anything at all, right? Alright, so we have this one. I think this is the last testing we have. And then I do not really need this Super Heavy anymore, and I'm not testing the Steel Fighter. I will have to test something else. I have to move this one here and move this one here. Alright, so we have to wait for the report to come out to take the last report's damage. Then we will understand all of this, and hopefully this one really give everyone a very clear idea of about how the Steel Fighter, when you max her out, and how the 30% really work. I can't really say about exactly the 30% from whatsoever damage or whatsoever skill damage or how it really work. But what I can prove now is that when you have Steel Fighter inside your base, it definitely give you the buff. If it doesn't inside the base, it just doesn't give you the buff. That is what I proved that, so that you can see 17.2 million damage. That's why whenever you have whatever troops is inside, whether it's one troops or full troops or whatsoever, as long it's inside your base, it will take the buff. That's the clear message of garrison. If it's move out from your base, then it's 100% not garrison. So that I think the Steel Fighter testing is already done, and I do not want to go into the details on the numbering of whether is it 25% instead of 30% or whatsoever. I don't think that is really necessary. But the very big question is that this is only one archeries. You already reduce like a 2 million damage, or 2 millions or 3 millions whatsoever. But if there is like 3 archeries try to shoot you, each of them reduce like 2 millions, that is definitely a lot, because the more damage, the more like we upgrade all this war, you can see the war is give you almost like let me check, give you almost like 150k. So you have to upgrade like 10 times of your war to give you like 1.5 billion extra HP. That's how your Steel Fighter give you instantly of this extra every single skill damage of 10, 10, 10, 10. Every single time they have a shoot, they save you 2 million damage on whatsoever on the skill damage. That's how the Steel Fighter being a little bit OP. from the defense, right? So I need to explain to my friend, not to mean that, Mandy, about thanks so much for the video 1, and now we have to do the video 2. I need to take off this one so that just show that this one. Video 2, you have to use HH only. Do not use any artillery. When I give you the emotion of gunfire, you have to let your hashtag my base and let your die. Is it okay for you? Alright, so that's the things that I want to tell him. So the second video I want to do is that the defensive of your base. So you can see that just showed it this one. These archeries, the max and the best of my archeries, I have a Gold Plus, not the best of the best in the world, but you know, this is what I have currently, the best archeries I have, right? And then I want to know about archeries and ATG to kill the super heavy, because anything can basically kill any, like, you know, medium tank, tank hunters, light tank, or the whatever archeries that try to kill our base. That's definitely not the point that we want to kill. We want to know what is the best thing compared. Like everyone say that the ATG is not the best. Someone say the ATG is the best. Someone say archeries can do almost the same thing to ATG, and ATG is a trash or whatsoever. But I really want to test it out. ATG alone and archeries alone to kill the super heavy. Which one is really better? So I will just put it this one. So I will not change this officer setup, and I will not change this officer setup. The reason is because this is the full officer I have most of the time to have my base in the defense state. That means whenever I want to do a siege, I will change to April to Anthony. But now I want to do a defense. That's why I want to have this one, the Anthony plus War Machine. That is almost the best defense I have. Or maybe you know, Anthony plus the Huntsman. But you know, the Huntsman doesn't have the extra attack speed, so this is what I have. But you can't swap this one to the ATG, because when you have this one, you can't say that, okay, I have the same officer on 2 of them to do the comparison. Definitely not logic, because you only have one set of defense. Whenever your opponents try to use the super heavy to siege your base, then that is what is situation. That's why I just want to clear that. Not that I do not want to use the same officer on the ATG, but it's the real situation you try to, you know, simulate, you know. So let's do it this time. So that he have to sacrifice his super heavy to kill my base, and my base will use the archeries to kill his whatever. So I have to put my ATG a little bit low. So you can see have a Jack there, and then let's see the second officer he have. Okay, it's Percy, not the best of the best, you know, but as long as you're using the same setup, so my archeries and my ATG will show almost the same thing. So this one is just test out how quick my archeries alone can kill the super heavy, and how quick the ATG alone can kill the super heavy, to compare, so that the people can't do one-on-one B2B to your base. And now you can see his archeries is dead fully. So that is really a little bit sacrifice to do some of this testing. Is really thanks for him a lot for this sacrificing and do the videos together. So we have to wait for the result later on, and I will just tell him thanks for this one, and please ready for 2. I just want to make the word very simple, because I do not want to have the translator being so weird. So I want to make it, you know, short and easy to understand sometime. So after this and this, unfortunately I doesn't have the TD max, because I already maxed it out in my ATG. So I can't show the TD, but this is what I have now. So, but I also want to test ATG one more time to compare ATG itself with the Guardian of Truth, because you know, Guardian of Truth basically buff all this to the tank. This one buff to the tank, this one buff nothing, this one buff nothing, and this one buff to the panel stations. So I want to know how good about this 40% plus another 40%, 80%. Is it better than we have this one of 8% plus 35% when you garrisons, and these two is basically equal to none, So I want to know, is it damage buff is better than the penetration buff, or the penetration buff is worth to have a try? That's the things. And also Garrett True is 1012 with this skill damage, and also Percy also having the same. So basically the skill damage is equal to the same. It's only like I want to test it out on the garrison's damage buff better than the penetration or not. But of course, if you put this one on the TD, is much more better because you have 30%, but better than the Percy, and also you have whatever skill damage 25% extra as well. But it doesn't get it from the ATG. But I just want to test, just want to test. But now I want to test this one first. Whenever his super heavy is done, I will just tell him when your hash is full and you can attack anytime. No need to wait for me. Alright, so I hope that he get the correct message, because I doesn't want to have a half or whatever try to attack and waste that or that whatever sacrificing. So let's see how quick we kill is all his super heavy. So you can see it take a long time, because if any one of you know that the siege of the army groups or the siege of the snowballing is take about 10 seconds or less than 10 seconds to kill any base. But you can see I have to use my attributes kill this super heavy with 41 seconds. That means my base is already dead, and the super heavy is still standing there like no happening, like no, not really affected anything, because that is how your attributes give you this kind of thing. You have to kill the super heavy within like 5 seconds or 10 seconds the max, so that your base will kill when, let's say, when there is a swarm and this super heavy is killing your base, and you have to kill this super heavy very quick, like within 10 seconds or something, so that the super heavy die, then you can start to kill everything surrounded you, and so all this army group will start to suffer together instead of only one group suffer. But you can see only archeries we take about 41 seconds. That's a very long time. It's almost like a minute, So we can compare to ATG and see how the ATG will do this time, because ATG is mainly counter to this super heavy. If you just go into this one and take a look, you can see it's mainly counter to super heavy. This is the only things that specifically to counter super heavy, but countered by light tank. That's not what we whatsoever. So you can see actually it's definitely counter inventory. So if you want to use an inventory to test, that's definitely okay. But you can see, so 1, 2, 3 or something, they all use super heavy, so we doesn't aware or afraid of archeries, because you can see I have rockets. So rocket is definitely I can so easy to kill inventory. And after the last arena, how good about a rocket to kill inventory. So inventory definitely not a very threat to us. But super heavy is how the army group works nowadays. So this is how I want to test it out. Whether is it worth to have an ATG, or you just work it out with archeries, because if the ATG deal with the damage like maybe 30 seconds or 35 seconds, so it's not very big gap, But if deal like 30 seconds is more than a half, then you will really start to know the differences, right? So let's read some of the comment. May I ask, Steel Fighter officer, is it good to be paired with medium tank? Steel Fighter is an officer that mainly just sit in your base. If you max her out, it just mainly sit inside your base. It doesn't work it out on any others tank. But if you want to use it on the field or use it on the run, then definitely it's good for any tank. It's not specifically only like super heavy or heavy or whatsoever. It's any tank also work. Maybe you put on light tank, tank hunters or whatsoever. It's all the tank will benefit from it, but it's just mainly for defense. But she is definitely a officer, have to sit inside your base all the time. Even though you put on archeries or put on the ATG, it doesn't matter at all. So you can see he's died all the way. So one last ashes attack and we are all done here. So I will have to swap this one to Guardian. So you can see we have the best of the whatsoever officer that offer the penetration boost. So we have 80% on ATG currently, and we just want to compare ATG to ATG of the next round, right? So that let's look about the second. So you can see, okay, so we have ATG. Are you serious? 41 seconds, and ATG is also due to 41 seconds. Maybe it's weird, right? Oh, okay, maybe it's not the new. Is it the new one or not the new one? It's a new one. So you can see ATG is also okay. This ATG icon, I can see that, and we have 13.1 from the normal damage and skill damage 10 millions. Then this one is the Arty. We have 15.9 skills damage. That's a little bit like 5 million extra than the officer damage. That's how the ATG work. And then the Arty deal about 8.6 million damage, and then the ATG deal about 13 millions. That's like 5 million damage offset by the normal damage we have from the officer damage from the Arty, you can see. So that's why the time is exactly the same, because the 5 million is convert from the officer. That because we can't have all the best officer on whatsoever defense we have, but in the end it just prove another things that ATG is counter super heavy, but it doesn't pay up to what we really sign up for, because your best of the Arty already do almost the same thing, like 41 seconds. If you doesn't look at the details, you can see it's already done almost the same thing. So the ATG definitely is not the best ideal, I would say. If there is a swap event, I might have to swap it to TD, so that the TD can pair with this Guardian of Truth. We will get addition of 25% of the skill damage and also 30% of the firepowering. I think that is much more stronger and much more better than the ATG I have currently. So I might have what I call that a little bit regret of this ATG. That's definitely not the best of the best choice, but it's consider about not having all the officer we have, because we have to consider when we have this and we have the second Arty with April with the huntsman and whatever, then and in the end we only can use Percy and Adder on the ATG, because ATG have to sit in my base all the time. But only the ATG itself also dealing very good damage as well. It's like 13 millions, and my Arty deal about 8 millions. So definitely the ATG will do a little bit better job to kill the super heavy. But because of the officer skill damage is matter as all, that's why you can see that is really what is really happening. Hopefully everyone get the ideas, because sometimes the testing have to be based on the real factor. If I put this setup on ATG, definitely the ATG will do much more better and crazier damage to kill the super heavy. But it just doesn't make it real situation, because no one will have to put those things to the ATG and have your Arty have like Percy or something. Then you try to use it to attack here and there, because you want to have an Anthony to go off from your base to start to kill things, so you can't make the situation like so weird, right? So I try to simulate what we have in the real battles, instead of you thinking that okay, you have Anthony of 5 of them, and then 5 of them also like test it out. It's definitely not work out and at that moment, So let's look at others comments. Hey, ATG or Jacket, which one is more to if what I test now, I think the TD is much more better, much more better than the ATG. But and also we have received some of the information about 5.0. They will buff the tank hunters again, so that is make tank hunters be more parity and more potential in the future updates, because the ATG did get some buff, but it's not best of the best in the world. So he will start to attack now, because now I want to test is the ATG with the penetration boost and see is it okay or not, Yeah, so he will do it one more time. Okay, he's attacked one more time, but this time he's on the rear of his tank. I don't think it's matter too much, but you can see the straight really starting. So it might kill it very, very quickly because he used his reel to face to my base. Definitely not the things that you want to do. So sometimes you have to aware. Maybe this is not a very, very factor, but you know, it's just something. Yeah, so we done there. So I don't think I have the very good chance to ask him to have another super heavy to die for me one more time, just to swap this setup to here. So maybe I will ask him. So that we'll just put exactly the same thing to compare, so everyone have a very, very clear idea. Because it's very hard to explain to him with translators, and you know, I can't talk to him directly. So I will just ask him, can I have one more? Let he say, certainly. Okay, so yes, please attack when you have full hashes again. Thank you so much. For my friends, well, much for this real testing. Hopefully my fans will appreciate what his friend really helped. Because this really need those things break down instead of you know, having every single time just someone attack you and you're just making a guess about, you know, what is really happening, what is not really happening, you know. So that we have exactly the same setup on my Arty this time with the ATG. So we will just put it a test. So we have a better reports come in from the ATG compared to ATG. So this time you can see it's 36 seconds, and the ATG give a little bit more damage because he using the reel to face to my base. That definitely the penetrate all the time, so it's still a lot of damage. But you can see the skill damage reduced about 3 millions, but it somehow kill the super heavy a little bit quicker, like 5 seconds. Not like a very, very crazy things, but at least I know that the getting of true is better than the Percy. That's the first point. But if I can have this become the tank hunters, I think it's still even better and even crazier damage, because they give the 25% of the skill damage for the TD, and also give addition of 30% of the skill damage instead of just having the penalty boost on it, right? So that is how you have to make it better, because we doesn't have any officer specifically for this ATG, because we use all the good officer on my others archeries. That's the problems I have, and even I have a rocket, so I use it on my rocket as well. That's why hopefully this testing really make some sense, you know, make some sense about why you want to have ATG, why you want to have archeries instead of ATG, or you know, this and that. So that ATG is mainly kill the super heavy, but if someone play the infantry, your archeries almost do the same thing to the ATG, but the archeries also kill the infantry. So if anyone work on the infantry, your archeries already kill that, so you doesn't have to worry. But if someone use super heavy, you can see the ATG compared to the archeries is not a very, very big apart from what disadvantage of how the ATG claim that to be counter the super heavy, but the super heavy just die almost the same time to the archeries. And I also start to regret of that I have ATG instead of have the the tank hunters, right? But you know, if give and take, most of the time I will sacrifice something to just test it out, because I doesn't have the 7.2, so I can't test that 7.2. But until I have that, and then I test it out, so everyone know that, so you do not have to take the same path as me, then you can just focus more on archeries instead of having, you know, more of these kind of things that it doesn't really need. And the bomber, of course, you doesn't need. So I will just pull every single things to the Liberty, the camp, the factions, because that's how we have all the good things. Once you have the super heavy ready, and you have the Liberty, you have this red bomber, they can put everything to the Liberty of archeries, and also Liberty bomber and Liberty fighter. So you can see all the things that I will just use on Liberty. But sometimes people like to have a Vanguard bomber, or you know, something else. But it really depends on what you want. But this is what I want, you know. So everyone will be aware what is really happening. So this is last test. After this one, I wouldn't ask him to do anything more. I will have to think about what idea for the next video as well. But this test, hopefully everyone know about the steel fighter things, and also the ATG versus archeries. But I'm so sorry that I doesn't have the TD, so I can't really test it out to the TD, because I can't use this 6-star TD to show you the things that I'm talk it out. It's definitely not the case that I want. But I already aware that if I have a TD is much more better than the ATG. Okay, so he might start to attack. Yep. So we can see how much this time the ATG do. But you can see the panel stage is still work out, because whether it's front or back, it still work out. But the damage might be different. I might have to slow down to see the number, but I don't think that's very important. So he died almost like instantly. I think this time is very good. So thanks you so much. That's all and finish. I will include your name for these 2 video testing when I publish to the world. So once again, hopefully all my fans also appreciate my friends Maddie help with this testing, and everyone that really wonder what is really happening or not, that really appreciate he really did a lot of help, and so that my base also have some credit, because my base takes some of the damage as well. So that if anyone have a question now, you might have to ask, so that I might miss out some of the possibility. So that you have to ask now, so I can do the testing with him, because he's still here. But I don't think I miss out anything, so that I just repeat what I did for the testing. But let's look at the battle report, so that you can see how quickly. So you can see with the same officer of the archeries, we are reducing from 41 seconds down to 37 seconds. That's why the ATG did his job. The damage seems like very less, not because it is less, it's because this is the maximum super heavy health. So it's whether the damage on the left side or on the right side, it doesn't matter. The matter thing is that the second, the time you take down the super heavy, 27 seconds is a huge jump, because if you can kill that super heavy very quickly, so that the swamp team will suffer, because that is how the ATG used to be do. That's why I already know the result. Is much more better if we have the best officer on the ATG, but it is just not realized on the real world situation, because you can't have this one when your base is getting attacked. You drag this one, you drag this one in and out to attack whatever. Then you know that you can't swap the officer because you're on the battle phase. Then you can't swap this one to this one, because you think that okay, now the siege team come to siege my base, so I have to swap this, swap that. But you might be doing halfway, then your base already start attack, and you have something like this, like no officer in your whatsoever. So you have to like I already know this one is better than the Percy, so I have to put this one what is it? I have to put this one on here. So you have to untouch them. You have to really untouch them. So I have to put this one here, and then put the steel fighter here, because the steel fighter is the officer that have to sit on the base. Whatsoever reason, you can't have your steel fighter to risk it out to shoot somebody, play some fun, and then die. When it becomes 0, the steel fighter is 0 effect. So that is hopefully everyone really get the idea and really help someone. May I ask? Yep. And hey ATG, okay. May I ask, steel fighter officer, is it to be good pair with a medium? Yeah, I think you asked that question, so I think everything is really very clear. Let's see what he say about that. Right. Okay, say no problem. Glad to help. Thanks you. I thanks him. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, I have to get back to the the lies. I really forgot about that. Yep. Back to the hoop. Alright, so I think that is really what is it for this live stream. And if anyone have a question or anything you want me to test now or ask, you can just ask now, so I can do it. I can just do it now. Otherwise, I have to start to prepare the videos for 2 days or tomorrow or something like that. But I think this one is really solve a lot of question about the 30%. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? But for me, I will see this is very needed. let's say if you are from a very new server, you still want to max out the Anthony because of the this one plus 1 grade is still the best one. After that, the second officer you can consider about to max out steel fighter. But if you are not those fighter, I mean, I would say that max out Anthony and then Emperor, so that you have the very best siege power. But people might not play siege all the time. They might play, you know, light tank or something. So if people play light tank, is very different style. They might need Huntsman or something else, you know. So that's why it's very, very hard to give one set of the guide, and everyone can use that, because someone might use light tank, someone use medium tank, someone play like siege style, someone play defense style. So it's very, very hard. But we are in the end game, so I just want to test everything for you, so that you just based on your own judgment, and then you can give me a question. And you can see someone really max out Wing of Glory, but I doesn't play fighter, and so that I doesn't want to max him. I have some of the skill because I got the statue from whatever, so I just use it up. And I doesn't max Heavens as well, because you know, I max this one because I have some statue. I just max it. I still have 400 something. So you can see I just focus on what I have. That's where more realistic, because I play Bomber. That's why I have Eagle and then Golden, so that I can swap between this Martial Watch and then the Liberty Bomber. So two of them I can siege with my Bomber, like all you see from the last 2 weeks. I do that, and then this Martial Watch to chase out any light tank or any tank, whatever, so that I can keep on kill some of the farm from the Battle Honor events, from the combat drill. That's more realistic of what based on my playstyle. But someone else might say that okay, they need to max this Wing of Glory and Eagle because they like to play fighter plane. But you can say I doesn't play fighter plane, so that's really, really fine for me. And based on my setup, I play more of a defensive and more of the siege style. That's why what the best. Okay, another things I also want to mention is because you know, the research matter. So I have all of this maxed out. Just want to show you this one. Archeries. Yeah, I have this one. Basically, I'm not sure is it work inside the base or not, because we can't say that research just to test this out. But you know, it's just whatsoever. And so that I have this max as well. You can see anti-tank gun plus 30% penetration. But it's more crazier if you have the tank hunters, because if you have the tank hunters, you will have every time that penetrate, you will stack up another firepower of 5%. You can stack up for 3 times, it's 15%. And then you also have this one. When the tanks attacks have 5% chance of additional double damage. So that if you have tank hunters, right? If a tank hunters replace your ATG, I would say that the tank is much more better than doing the job to kill the super heavy. The God of War might be better, but it still reduced 40% cooldown. But you can see on the other side, the tank hunters give like double damage every single time, double damage. So this one is still you have to shoot 1 time to reduce, shoot 1 time to be reduced 40%. It's still not up to a double damage, but this one is more of like what you call that, more of like 5% chances, and this one is more on like a 10% chances. But you have to see there is a 10% chance next attack reload speed, so that when your archeries attack, I hopefully that is include your ATG. It's like every single time you reload, there will be have 10%, right? But the tank hunters is say that attack has 5%. That's mean because sometimes you see your okay. Let me show you. Maybe I doesn't. Yeah, I have this one, right? I can't kill something strong, so that I have my tank hunters die. So I just show you something like this, right? So you can see the tank hunters shoot. It's not like shoot like every single reload. It's like shoot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then like shoot 1, something like that. So each attack have a 5%. So it's like 5 equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like 25% each attack. Then you might get a double damage. You know, like I mean, I show very closely. Like this particular one tank might get a double damage. This particular tank might get double damage. This particular tank might get a double damage with 5% chances. So each of them have their own 5% of the double damage if you research that final research. But you can see actually it's like something like this. No, I have to attack this one. Yeah. So you can see each reload get a 10% or 40% cooldown. So it's like each reload. So whatever you do is it still makes it back to each reload, so that the 10% is always stay on 10%. But the tank hunters and whatever tank that you have, like light tank or medium tank, is like 5% of the equally of each of the tag. So I hope that really explain what is really happening, you know. But I didn't have that research yet, so I can't really confirm that. But you know, that is what I read from the description, and hopefully that is the description to mention that way. But you have to see, Arty's attack is like one shot every single reloads, but the tank doesn't work that way. Tank is like attack continuously every single minute, every single time, every single second, something like that, like millisecond whatsoever. So that the research might be different based on that. So the tank on this is much more better than the ATG. But other than that, I can't compare anything other than that, because currently I only compare the Arty's, the ATG, and the tank hunters. So that's what I really want to tell, and how you really want to have your Arty's research tree to work. Because I have all the Liberty Arty's, so I want this one. But if I have the tank hunters, I might have to have this one. But I still need to get this 30% of my armor. Just a speed up, but I think it's definitely good things. You know, I want anything to buff my armor so they can do the job very quickly. And all-weather combat is like when the plane start a fight, if the firepower firepower increase 5% per second up to 25%, it's like 5 seconds. But the problem is that this one I think is mainly good for the fighter instead of good for the bomber, because you see, when you start a plane battles, when a plane start a battles, that means the plane have to touch the target to being a battle. So that let me what's that? Okay, let me show. I have bomber, right? So let's do the bomber. So you can see I can yeah. So you can see it says it's engaged in the battle. So it's very engaged in battle. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So the second is going up. But you can see really drop the first bomb and drop the second bomb, and it take more time to stack up to 25%. So once you stack up to 25%, your bomber is really going back to your base. But if the fighter is different, because the fighter it can just go up, then start to fight, and he still stay there, so he can stack up the 25% like forever whenever the fighter plane is stay there, and the fighter plane also also keep on train back and, you know, do the support in. I say that until it leaves the battle, right? So that your fighter plane can definitely stay there forever, and so that to enjoy the 35% most of the time, right? So until there's no more fight, then your fighter plane can you know, get back. So I see that the research is more benefit to the fighter plane instead of the bomber. So I might not really rush to that. So I will rush to the Liberty research. Yep, and get back. Okay, finally get back. But it might be okay, might be not okay. But of course, if you have nothing else to research, then you want to, I mean, Arty's back to this God of War, then I have no way to get my tank hunters unless there is a swap event. That I will just get this one. It's definitely the best of the best thing for any light tank, medium tank, tank hunters. It's all the best you can have is max this one. So your light tank will get super cool attack power, something like that. No one will max inventory, even though you want to play inventory. It doesn't want to have like what do you call that? Like you can see, I have 1 Arty's, 2 Arty's, 3 Arty's, and like 2 tanks. And so that if you have 1 inventory, so and you have any type of things, but you just want to max out your inventory to buff one particular groups, do you think is it worth it? And you can see the inventory give you nothing, and nothing. So you do not have, I mean, not like saying ask you never ever research the inventory. I just ask you not to rush to finish this tree first. You try to finish the archery tree first or the tank tree first. If you play the better soon things like you play light tank, you play medium whatever, or play heavy, you can max out a tank first, or you play archeries to max out the archeries first. Then you can max out the plane because everyone have a plane at a decent level. Then only you max out the tank, or after that you only max out the archeries. Then only work on the last win the inventory, or you can just leave the inventory so you can continue to do on this advanced city defense, right? Because I still not doing that. I see someone almost half done the city defense. I still have a very long way. But hopefully all this advice really give everyone a better understanding what is really what is what, right? So that everyone know how the steel fighter at some point you can see the steel fighter stay here. It really cause my damage to being very weak. But if I have to put on my super heavy, that's why most of the time you still okay. That's why you can see most of the time I won't do the jack, but I will just do something like this one. You can see mostly I will do something like this one because I know the steel fighter have to stay inside my base. Instead of I teach everyone that your super heavy have to get out of your base to tank some of the damage for your base, and so that you can still have your super heavy die, but your base will stay a little bit longer so that whatever you have inside your base will start to kill whatever they will do their job. But now you want to have your super heavy to be come out to do some crazy job. Whenever the opponents start to siege your base with some of the skill almost shooting, then you have to get your super heavy to get inside your base. Whether you have a full super heavy or whether you have one super heavy inside, it doesn't matter. But your steel fighter have to be inside your base, and when your steel fighter inside your base, your troops must be have at least have one inside your base. If you have 0, then it just doesn't make sense to your steel fighter. That's the things that you have to always aware. That's why I have my Guardian of Truth inside my super heavy, because you want to have Jack and then Angel on the super heavy when your super heavy is outside. So your super heavy is like taking a forever time to heal himself, so that he is very good on whatsoever he's doing. Then you might need the steel fighter on something else, you know, on my archeries or on my ATG or whatsoever. But it will reduce the damage because the steel fighter doesn't give you anything to your archeries. Like shield doesn't give you damage. This one does. This one give you 15, but we can very easily to get 15 from anything else. Like I can just replace you know, wolf give you 15%, but it still give you 1002 of the damage, right? Then steel fighter give you nothing about what we need. When your troops is inside your base, you doesn't need this resistance, right? Then it doesn't need tank durability or the resistance. Is like why you want to need it, because your troop is inside your base, right? So you are reducing your archery's damage because it doesn't do. So I will just do something like this, and then you know, since I can't use this one, I'll just use this one and then this one, right? So and so that I have this one, and then I still have steel fighter. Alright, so once enemy is still something outside, I can just do something like this, doing something crazy, and do this one, something crazy. When enemy is near, drag it in, and just cross your finger and say, alright, base, do your best, whatever you can. And if you have a chance that you can snipe some of the archeries, you will snipe it and snipe it. Then do, and then this one snipe it or snipe it and do back something back to your base, so that you can see the steel fighter is sit inside your base forever, and so that it take all this 30% effective from 24/7 for your base, instead of you know, you put on something else that it just doesn't work. And since that your super heavy is inside your base, you doesn't want to have you know, like what I say, this one just give you a heal that doesn't deal damage, and this thing is doesn't really affect the damage, and Angel definitely not give you a damage as well. That's why I want to have a Guardian of Truth for that reasons. Medium tank versus tank hunters, which one is the best at the end game? End game, if you are just do something like me, I want to replace the ATG to tank hunters. So of course the tank hunters is better. But if you want to versus medium with tank hunters, of course the medium is better than the tank hunters, because the tank hunters is not the best thing on the run. Like you want to fight on the field, like the battle war whatsoever, like a siege group, or you know what, try to chase some light tank or something, because you can see let me show you tank hunters, right? So you can see counter by medium, counter by light tank. So if you have a tank hunters and your purpose is try to on the battlefield to chase down all these very funny things that are running around, like enemy light tanks try to kill your teammate supply, or try to being some of the, you know, support group, but you have a tank hunter, but you counter by medium and tank and light tank. So do you consider you want to use a light tank to chase that light tank and let that light tank to kill you? Or you have a light tank to kill light tank? I mean, you have a medium tank to kill a light tank, right? I'm not sure what am I talking about. Let me show you mediums. Where is the mediums, right? Yeah, mediums. We have mediums. So you can see medium is mainly kill tanks and light tank. So if you compare, definitely you want to have mediums instead of light tank. If you play, if you play whatever on the battlefield, you want to have a medium instead of a tank hunters. But if you want to have a medium, but you can have a light tank, you better have a light tank instead of a medium, because light tank can do more than the medium. Why? Because if, let's say we have a group here, then you can see I have a fighter to protect whatever group I have. Then the bomber start to do something crazy, so crazy. But you can see, let's say this is the light tank, I can do anti-air mode, and then I can start to kill your fighter there. And anything here start to chase me, I'm so sorry, I'm a light tank, I can just drag it something like this, and my light tank just kill something of you and get out of the battlefield, and you have to take forever time to chase me. If the bomber try to chase your light tank, then of course your light tank can kill that fighter, kill the bomber. Like my bomber want to kill this one, your light tank can do it. But of course, if this is the medium, I'm so sorry, you have to go in here and you do nothing, because I have my big group here, you doesn't want to contest with my big group, and you can't kill my fighter, and you just run away because my bomber is coming to you, and you just keep on run for your life. That is how the medium compared to the light tank, and how the medium compared to the tank hunters, and hopefully you get the ideas, right? So hopefully that's really helpful from anyone really asking the questions. And hopefully I'm not give the wrong advice, you know, like I really hate when the times I give the wrong advice and everyone just blame like why Hunter say something like this and that, right? It doesn't matter about the camp buff, you know, because as long I have the exactly the same thing to do the testing, so the buff is stay on that way. Like not like I have to test the archeries because I've removed all this one. Then when I test the ATG, I will just have all this one to make the buff. You know, it just doesn't make it real. So that I also simulate the real things that when I have whatever from, you know, the real world, when someone sees you, when someone one-on-one you, when someone B2B you to you, or something like that. That's why it doesn't really care about the camp buff. As long as you have the same exactly the same setup, that's definitely work it that way, you know. So when I'm not testing the camp buff, you know, I just testing the 30% of the steel fighter and also the archeries and the ATG. I just swap the officer around, so it doesn't really affect whatever camp buff I have, because they just stay the same, you know, stay the same. Yeah, but of course you will say that you have to work it out, like you're having the camp buff. That certainly is good, but you have to know in the end you must have the correct unit to play the style you want instead of having camp buff. Because in the end, the camp buff give you like a few percent, and that particular few percent might be a very big question. Most of the people will think about, okay, let's say the camp buff give you another 5%, but you can see you can just ask for the title. Let's see the title, right? Let's see you have some war title. Minister, you can see easily get 8%. From whatever you lost from the camp buff, easily get this 8% and easily get some 8%, easily get some 8% whatever. But of course the camp buff is good to be additional, but you doesn't want to stick because you have the camp buff. But of course if you, from the start I already know what I want to play, that's why I make it like you know, have a have the archeries and plus the camp buff. But in the end, I still need the ATG or the tank hunters to do the things to kill the super heavy. That's why I doesn't stick on the camp buff, because you can see I must have the bomber. That's why 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what I have. I can't make it on the 6, so I will just stay on this way. But whenever I play the rocket, I might do something like this. I have the rocket, so you can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I might have to swap this one to something like this one. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then because I doesn't use the super heavy, because I know the super heavy just stay inside, so I will just swap something like this one. I mean, I can do better one, but it doesn't, you know. So I can just play my rocket to go out there, and I still have 6 camp buff, you know. So it's much more real rise that I mean, much more real based on whatever you have to play, because I just want to play rocket now. But my base is very safe because I doesn't have to do something. But if anytime being a danger, I will just swap back to whatever my best setup I have, so that, you know, the camp buff, it doesn't matter that of the few percent of the camp buff, but you know, you can play around with the camp buff instead. Like I teach everyone how to use the camp buff. You doesn't have to I mean, as long as you deploy the troops, you doesn't have to train them, so you can swap them whenever your base get attacked. You still can train, but if you have something else and you train, you can't swap it, you know. So the camp buff might be a very big deal for somebody, but I would say the correct setup is what you really need instead of looking for the camp buff. Hopefully this is the advice that help some people to get out of the camp buff you know, cycle. Let's see where the camp buff, right? Yeah, the camp. So we have the camp. Okay, so you can see the camp buff give you 18%, but it's not a huge jump from 5 go up to 6. It's just a 3%. But of course 4 to 5 is a huge one, you know, 7%, something like that. But you can see I already making it up. As long if when where I need a camp buff, I can just swap. Let's say I know that the enemy is surrounding me, so when I have this one max, I will just keep on pushing this one. These two already the camp buff, and so that I know that the rocket is very poor job on doing the defense, then I will just swap it to something like this. So I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have the 15% instead of 18%, but the 3% doesn't really make a very huge jump, you know. That's how I have my defense. And when I want to play the rocket, I will just swap it. No, so this is how I know that my offensive style, my defensive style, and my officer, how I deploy to put my officer to the correct positions. When I want to siege, I will just put this bow guy with my Anthony. So the couple doing the best thing to do the siege, you know. But if I want to do the defense, I will just put the Anthony away from, so that she can make the handsome guy. So that this is how the dating things work out, you know. Sometimes you have to aware what is really working. The reason enhancement on the second is because this guy need to be have the skill charge, so that he have a 10% reload. So hopefully everything's good now and everyone get the idea of testing. And thanks so much everyone for watching, and really thanks, and see you guys next videos, right? Okay, I think at this point it's really goodbye to everyone. Yeah, and goodbye. See you guys next videos.